finally, I think the BBC found something for me to do, because a new woman arrived, and there weren't many women producers at the BBC. They didn't like them, and they certainly didn't like ITV, and they certainly didn't like people who hadn't come from Oxbridge. But she was brought in by Sidney Newman, a newly appointed head of drama, and her name was Verity Lambert, and she was given the task of bringing an idea that had been muted and developed slowly before but never got anywhere, of a science fiction series called Doctor Who. And she, for better or worse, was given me. And I was the first, with another director called Chris, to do the Daleks. And we did do the Daleks together. We did 3 each. And then he went somewhere to do something else. He didn't want to do Daleks anymore. And I did Doctor Who for over a year, about a year and a half. I did, I think, 5 series. Daleks Invade Earth. Oh, I can't remember all of them. And they were appallingly written, but they were imaginative, and we had to do them on a shoestring. The Daleks were made here in Uxbridge for £350 each, and bits of already created plastic were used, and of course, famously, a sink blocker was used as the hand. It wasn't entirely, that was my suggestion, but I didn't say stick a lavatory de-blocker on the end. I said, wouldn't it be a good idea if we had a magnet that would attract everything, not just metal, but anything, including food. And that if the Dalek wanted to eat, it would just stick this thing at it, and the thing, be it a dog or a human being, would be sucked in. What we got was a laboratory brush, which was all that the BBC could afford. Nevertheless, it had gone into the Oxford Dictionary, and it has lasted, and the programme has lasted. I was exhausted by the end of it, and thank God I got out and did other things. One little anecdote which I remember, I did some good filming for Doctor Who before we were confined to the studio, which was in Lime Grove and quite useless for these sort of expansive, and I wanted to be very exciting visual sci-fi things. But we did some good filming. We started at midnight on Trafalgar Square. We had to bribe some hippies to disappear. Apart from that, Trafalgar Square was empty. And we were, as the dawn came up, we were able to shoot some Daleks weaving in amongst the lions there when we came running up the Mall. And we finally did a shot of one Dalek coming, I wanted it at speed, it was never quite at speed, over Westminster Bridge at us with, of course, the House of Commons in the background, and I wanted nothing else. I wanted an empty bridge. It was very difficult. There was then less traffic than now, obviously, but there was still one all-night bus. So we got, I had the Daleks wheeled, so they were a little faster. They were built on pedal tricycles. And I got this one Australian guy, the toughest of them. He only just fitted inside the Dalek, but I thought he was the right man to get some speed to come over the bridge towards us, towards camera. He was at the top. I got an agonised thing over the intercom from the other side, from the Westminster side, saying, "I'm lying in front of the bus to stop it coming over," from my first assistant. "Please go now." So we were all in a bit of a hurry. We cranked up the camera. I said go, and he didn't do it fast enough. So I shouted halfway through, "Go back and start again." I wasn't very polite. And he came over at a reasonable speed, straight at camera, went over, and then the Dalek fell over and skidded. And they dug him out, and I think he was somewhat bruised. And an aficionado of Doctor Who came from Australia and interviewed me years and years later and said he still hates you and knows about you and talks about you with deep loathing. He now runs a gym in Sydney or somewhere and will recall this terrible moment where this idiot director nearly killed him. Anyway, that was my Doctor Who experiences, one way and another. Then I went on.